What's up, everybody? It's your favorite wingman's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Mastermind Creations Reformatted Aero Alpha. This is on loan to me from James Jordan. He's on a show that's part of the Cool Table Network called Breaking the Mold. It's a great show. They're just getting started. Highly recommend you check them out. A lot of good guys involved. And it's part of the Cool Table Network. So, you know, one hand wash the other, both hands wash the face, if you know what I'm saying. This is on loan to me, but I want to talk about the accessories first, but I feel like there's one other thing. Oh, Wingman. He also made this meme. One thing I want to talk about, though, before we get to accessories, is these side panels here, I think, are supposed to be down in vehicle mode. And to be fair, I think this is probably one of the first things you want to do for transformation, but I kind of like how that looks. So I'm just partial to it. I like the little extra. It's a little too circular for my personal taste when it's sitting in the proper space. But I mean, it's definitely, it's up to you, right? But as I'm looking at it, like I kind of feel like that forms more of a thruster look. And this looks more like a car to me, which is fine. But I just, for my personal taste, I prefer the other way. So he comes with the alternate head. We have some gold paint there, and then the gray piece, I'm guessing, is painted. I'm not sure. It might be. I think it's painted, and then the yellow eyes. And then we have the two wing flaps on the side that can rotate from the back to the sides, which is cool. A nice feature. It's on a little small hinge, and that's well done. Then he comes with two of these swords. Nice silver there, black handles, and light blue gems painted on. The two shorter blades can be stored underneath here in these little clips. I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to damage the chrome, but it does have a storage option, and you can have the blades maybe going either way, I would imagine. Let's double check since we're here. I would imagine it works either way. They can also be stored one each on each side of his hips, and he holds them just fine. And then, of course, one long sword that can be detached. It does, all the blades have these chrome finishes, and that is a bit of a tight fit, so you want to use caution. We're going to talk more about that here in just a second. Black plastic down here, and I think that's painted on, and then we have the chrome blade. Decent looking sword, though. And if you have the long sword detached, you can clip one in here, and then the handle can plug in there. So total weapon storage. The long sword can be stored down in this little pocket, but it's a tight fit, and I'm not comfortable. I was pre-warned by James to not push too hard because there's some potential damage there, so I'm not going to do that. But he can hold it like a champ. So let's talk about vehicle mode. Features-wise, the canopy does open and close. There is a tight little bit that has to get around there, like you feel it release. Like, it's not one of those things, it's not one of like a deal breaker or anything, nothing like that. It's just, if you know the type I'm talking about, it has that. Every now and then on a little tight hinge, there's a little bit of tension you got to push past to release. It's like a smoked out translucent piece, plugs in fine. There's landing gear on the bottom. They flip out here and here, and then you can collapse them, and then the front one you can collapse here and here so we can fly, and then the wings can collapse to the side of the vehicle or extend out. My first impressions are it's extremely compact and tight, so to speak, but a little plain, a little light, but the plastic feels good. A little plain, stop at you. And then we have some nice detailings and such. We have the grays, the darker blue, the reds. Underneath is pretty clean, at least what we would, I think, expect generally. So, yeah, it seems fine. And then Tiger Tracks, we got to get him out. I still haven't had time to clean him up, but there he is. So, you know, decent enough size as well. So let's get him transformed. So this becomes the foot here. If you lift up on these bits here and pull this out, this becomes the foot. Straighten this, bend that, and then flip the heel all the way around so that's nice and flat. You can then pull this sort of leg away. This piece splits. You turn that around and collapse it back onto itself. Is it just like that? I'll have to double check that. And then collapse that leg. So we'll do that on this side as well. We're gonna pull that away. We're gonna rotate the foot down, rotate the toes down, foot down, heel up. And we're gonna split this, turn it around, collapse. I wanna collapse that more, but I gotta look at that. And then bring the leg up and around so that you can straighten out the legs. Pull the arms out and just sort of open this up the best you can, just to get them out of the way, really, because we got to sort out this middle section. And basically what we need to do is bring the torso around. So lift up here. That'll help you pull this piece out, and once you have that, you can split these two pieces apart, angle them as need be, and then you should be able to rotate the waist, open that up, flip this down and around. As you do on this side, pull out these flaps. I'm going to use the smudger, whatever it's called. Plug all of this in. These two pieces will collapse on the flank. This piece will come up and tab in. And then this piece we're going to pull up and leave down. And we'll turn the head around to the front. Lastly, we just rotate the shoulders, sort the arms, bring these flaps down. Once again for the other side, sort the arms. Oh, I did this one wrong. And bring these flaps down, and then this piece folds down. So I'll get them cleaned up, we'll take a look at them. So let's talk about them. So we have the same ear function, right, where they can flip to the back and forward, and we have some red paint that looks nice both on the crest and in there. Face and eyes are all clean and well done. The head is on a ball peg. You get down to there, which is nice, great range, and up to there, and the swivel, confused dog look, etc. So no issues there. There is a little bit of break between the head and where the chin goes. That's sometimes an issue with ball pegs and sculpt, but if you get imposed, you know, it shouldn't be an issue. Moving on, we have the waist, and as you saw in transformation, there is a swivel. It's a little tight, but it is definitely there, and it works fine, you know, given what it is. And then we have some red paint added, and it looks like some dark blue paint added. The color breakup, I think, works well overall, honestly. For the shoulders, we have ball pegs attached to hinges, so you can get the shoulders all the way up to there, and then we have an additional hinge at this shoulder so you can get the arm almost out all the way to the side. I think it's well close enough, you know, it's maybe a degree off. Using just pretty much the ball peg, you can still get the arm out, and using the ball peg, you get a little bit of a butterfly joint both forward and back. Let's see what else. You don't get, I guess you get the swivel here at the ball peg also. You have a weird, it almost sounds like it should be ratcheted, but it's not hinge here. So there's a couple of different things kind of servicing the same area, so to speak, that can get you some, it can get you the range that you need, and it's good. It's good to have it because the bulkiness of the shoulders makes you need to work around it. So all in all, I think it's well done. It's just, it's a little redundant, but I think that's fine. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow gets you a great range. Wrist swivel, fingers are on a base pin knuckle. The index finger is individually articulated and is slightly more open, so it doesn't look as bad. It still looks like, you know, as a typewriter finger, you can get a little bit more love out of it, which is nice. And we have gray paint around the forearm and some extra detailings back in there. No real issues. And the red looks great throughout. Red's kind of easy to pull off though. We have a hinged ball peg here for the hip sheaths, so you can get them kind of out of the way. And then that gives us hip flaps to expose a universal joint, which gives us the full Van Damme and pretty much the full Monty. I think we give it to him. What do you say? Some gray paint there on the upper thigh. with a thigh swivel that is a little tight. Tolerances are a little off on this fella, just in terms of what I normally expect from MMC in terms of tolerances. And then we have some nice paint detailings on the hips. For the knees, we have a double hinged knee that gets you a great range, and then tons of like accents and paint and stuff throughout the legs to give you color breakup, which works well. For the ankles, it's a ball peg, so you get ankle tilt up, an additional toe tilt up, ankle tilt down, and then you get a rocker a little bit at the proper, actually it's a fair amount, at the proper ankle, and then you can turn the toe an additional bit to get you a great range. So all of that works pretty well. So, you know, with a few nitpicks aside, most of it works pretty well. The biggest drawback, unfortunately, is kind of the amount of stuff going on back here, which is just unsightly. Now, we don't display our figures from the back. Say what? I think that it's still worth noting, you know, there's just a lot of real estate that this is going to take up for a bot that is relatively sleek. Now, some of this is true to character design and stuff. I get all that. I'm just saying that it's there. I think the one piece that irritates me more than the others is the canopy, and I guess you can have it up, but you know, it's just sort of I wish this worked on a hinge system where you could collapse it a little bit better and a little bit tighter behind the bot, and I think I would have forgiven the shoulders. But kind of the sum of all of its parts makes it a little intense. Size comparison wise, there it is with MMC's hot rod, so I think that the scaling works perfectly. Final thoughts wise, it's pretty solid, but I do have a couple little things I want to point out. One, the tolerances for the chrome and storing them and such should have been taken care of and at least protected at the very least. I feel like we probably could have engineered an ab crunch into this guy, and I think that would have helped, especially lend some extra little articulation, which I feel like he could benefit from just due to the nature of the character. Some of the joints are a little oddly tight. I mean, better too tight than too loose, trust me, so to speak. But I still have to say that they are a bit snug. And then my last criticism is more so a total opinion thing, but it's my channel, so I can say my opinion all I want. And that is, it's one of those Hasbro tactics, man, to put out the release of the mold first that people aren't as interested in. That's something I've been critical of MMC this past year, and it kind of remains true. I feel like Drift should have came first, and then this sort of representation should have came second. But what they've been doing is putting out the mold that people are less interested in first, like they did with Dickamus. They put out that other thing, the purple thing, Titanica. So people buy that because they're excited about a new mold, but it's not really the mold they want. They want the second one, but it's just one of those business tactics that I'm not crazy about. So I'm pointing it out because I'm not crazy about it. But that's definitely a personal thing that I'm bringing to the table. It's not an objective criticism of this specific product. But honestly, a really solid overall effort, and I'm looking forward to getting the representation of the character that I want, which I think is coming next from their reformatted line. I could be wrong about that, but I think it is next, and I'm looking forward to getting that because that's the one I want, and they did a really good job. The presence is strong, the sculpt is fantastic, there's a lot of color breakup, there's a lot of paint, the articulation works like a champ. It's a little hard to manipulate sometimes due to how tight the tolerances are, but it still is definitely there. The price is a little steep for what it is. The shoulders and the kibble are a bit much, but with the transformation process being as enjoyable as it is, which is something that they've been consistent with over their past couple releases, and I applaud them for that. It's simplistic, it's intuitive, it's still fun and interesting and easy to flip back and forth, so it's actually like a really fun toy. And there is a charm to these figures in that regard that's not lost on me. So with all the things it's got going for it, sculpt, paint, articulation, fun factor, etc., it is a recommend from me. I personally am just waiting for the next release of it. So thanks again to James Jordan. Be sure to check out the show that he's involved with on the Cool Table Network called Breaking the Mold. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Till next time, take care.